Uh, Thank you, Mr. President, for the kind introduction, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. I will try to represent an EFFRA here to make a presentation which is based mainly on three pillars. One is to make you a little bit more familiar on the history of this story of Manufacture EFFRA and Horizon 2020. Then to get back with some data related to tools, dies, and molds industry, their importance and the trends. And then to go ahead with the matching between the Horizon 2020 priorities, research priorities, and the main stages of life cycle of molds and tools and dies manufacturing. So this will be the outline of my presentation. Basically, I would like I could change, let's say, the title of the presentation, saying that my effort today, my attempt today is to convince people who is involved in the manufacturing of tools, dies, and molds, and especially SMEs, which have not so much developed R&D departments and have not people available to be involved deeply in the details and the bureaucracy of how to participate in European projects for financing their interests in developing things in their sector, to make them more familiar with these capabilities, with these possibilities. So let's go ahead with that. And first of all, just to motivate what happens today. As you know, since 1998, we have passed basically from local and very closed economies to this, what we say today, globalized markets and industries. Let's give a short definition about manufacturing, just to have in mind what we're talking about. Let's say by Abel and other people defining the manufacturing, we can say that manufacturing is one of the main human activities to produce and maintain wealth. This is the most important, wealth and prosperity in our societies. And this activity has been transformed from local to global, including huge networks of suppliers, dealers, retailers, and so on. So the last 10 to 15 years, another issue is that we have passed gradually for what we say mass production in the past to mass customization. Why that? Why? The reason is very simple. The customer, the average customer, has saturated from any sort, any kind of products. So now the market, the demand has modified, and we have passed gradually from mass production to mass customization, and now we're passing gradually from personalization later on to mass personalization. Of course, this has a very important and very intensive impact on the tools and molds making manufacturing industry, because when you are producing a mold or a die or a tool, you need to depreciate the value of this tool, and it's very difficult to depreciate the value of a tool in case of small batches of manufacturing and continuously changing products. So these are some challenges which are faced in general by manufacturing, and with very intensive impact on tools and dies industry. Some other things which are very important here are related to some new challenges which were more or less unexpected, meaning the economic crisis, which is a very important issue since 2008, when appeared very intensively, demographic issues, cultural and political issues which are not so much technical, but also affect the manufacturing and the sector of tools and dies. All these things, of course, have some implications, and at the end of the day, we conclude with this. We need a new manufacturing paradigm in order to support the new era of manufacturing. So let's go ahead with a small reference to the history. A group of people in 010 in 2004 started with what we said then manufacture, meaning manufacturing of the future. These people had a vision that the manufacturing is changing. And based on this vision, they started to create, using people from industry, using people from academia, from research organizations, and any kind available people, an agenda. The strategic research agenda, which included the points you can see here. As you can see, what they said then in 2004 is still more than relevant after some 10 years. This was the beginning. After that, it was a discussion how we can compile all these actors in order to be able to pass from the vision to something real. And we had here the vision strategy, we had the innovation challenges, the research needs, and after that, we had the needs for producing research results, but new solutions, and of course, we had the pressure for exploitable results, more and more for exploitable results. After that, we should find a way to pass from innovation to new solutions. Then we had this long way around here, starting from the vision to the exploitation, but also a high pressure for short-term results from vision to exploitation. And then the main players, the industry, the research organizations, and the public authorities. This was the first beginning, the first thought in 2004 to go on what we later said public-private partnerships. So, starting from 2004, we passed in 2008 in implementation phase. The vision should be implemented. And the implementation of this vision of manufacture was the EFFRA, the European Association for Research, which it was the private partner of the European Commission, who was the public partner for producing this, what we say now, the successful factories of the future, private-public partnership. It was a very critical point in 2008 when the crisis started to be very, very obvious. What we have to do? Until then, manufacturing was a little bit, how to say, in the back, beside the scenes. Other priorities were selected to be in the front. And then we had the very famous recovery plan of 1.2 billion euro, 600 million were the public, and 600 million euro were the private contribution, and it was created this recovery plan with 1.2 billion euro for the FOF, public-private partnership. Main importance and main attention was given at that point of time on what we will do with the small, medium enterprises, because at that point of time, everybody anticipated that the backbone of the European industry is the small and medium size enterprises. Until then, it was, let's say, how to say, the poor partner in the European project just to fill in the consortia. At that point of time, it was very clear and very documented that almost 90% of the European GDP is coming from the small, medium-sized enterprises. And special attention and special actions were plant within FOF for supporting and for having on board with primary role the small and medium-sized enterprises. So in the first call, we had seen just from the first call some very good signs related to the new tools, meaning that in the call topics we had better and more strong industrial participation. We had industries participating in the budget with more than 50%. We had shorter times to contracts because it was, let's say, an issue making the companies to be hesitant to participate in European projects due to the long process from the preparation of proposal until the funding and starting the real work, and of course the higher success ratio, which passed from 10% almost to 30%. So after that, it was established, the association, in 2009. It was a board in which participated some very well-known companies like Comau, like Daimler, Festo, Siemens, Volvo, Mondragon, and others. Also some associations representing thousands of manufacturing companies all over Europe, like Orgalim, VDMA, Agoria, Setim, and any kind of companies, but all of them related to manufacturing, and also some well-established universities and institutions. Here you can see the road from 2004 to November 2008 with the recovery plan, then to April 2009 with the establishment of EFFRA association, and now we are going for the new tools of Horizon 2020, which is the new challenge. So here you can see, because many times a lot of people were saying that even with the old tools, the outcome of the European project was not so good, was not successful, was not important for the industry. If we see the numbers, because the numbers is saying the truth, you can see that even from the 5th framework program and the 6th framework program, many companies participated in the European project declared that they have seen good results. For this reason, I would like to say to all of you to be keen to participate in European projects. Finding the correct partnerships and finding the correct supporting partners, you should participate in the European projects, because as you can see, even from 10 years ago, we had seen good results. Of course, much more better results we have seen in the last 3-4 years, since 2009, in the framework of the 7th framework program, and in more concrete in the framework of Factories of the Future tool. So let's go ahead to some data which are coming from some reports from the European Commission and from some independent auditors, saying that from €1 invested on the research, we have a payback in long run 4 to 7 euros. You have to see I have to say that everything in this presentation is documented and based on data. Nothing is out of our mind, you know, and personal estimations. Also, someone early before talked about human resources. One very important issue which we have to take into consideration when we are talking about the research projects and our participation, especially from industry and especially for SMEs, is to take into consideration that we train people in high level and knowledge-based actions related to their profession. So here there are some data showing exactly that. Now you can see that we had 3 tools based on the recovery plan. One was related to the factors of the future, one to the energy efficient buildings and green cars. And you can see here the amount of money, which is huge, which was invested on that. So further to that, you can see from the first call, the reduction from the time to grant based on the other FP7 tools, meaning that FOF, which is the main, the long head of the EFFRA, succeeded just for the first call to reduce 35% the time to grant versus the other FP7 tools. So this is a very important issue to justify the reason why you should participate under FOF and EFFRA in the different projects which possibly will be established for the next period. And now let's see what are the 2020 baselines, challenges and opportunities, research innovation priorities, and technology enablers. Here you can see which are the opportunities and challenges: economic, social, and environmental, and of course manufacturing future products. The second has to do with technologies and enablers, which are the enabling technologies. And here you can see that we are talking about advanced manufacturing processes, very much related to tools and molds industry, mechatronics for advanced manufacturing processes, knowledge workers, modeling, simulation, and forecasting, which maybe is not so clear that is very much related to your business, but is very much related, the simulation, the digital simulation of the processes you are making before you are going to produce a mold and a die. And of course, this is the overall. And here we can see how we have passed from manufacture some years ago to FOF, and which are the mega trends. These are for the politicians: urbanization, aging people, disruptive events like crisis, and of course knowledge and global information society. And after that, this is now something more technical. Here we have this life cycle of producing a mold, and here we have the product. As you can see, at this point here, we have a cross, which is the adaptive and efficient manufacturing. And of course, we have different interactions between product development and production requirements. We have feedback from engineering of manufacturing systems to product engineering and so on. But the main point here is that we have need to pay attention on adaptive and efficient manufacturing. And here we can pass in some data, some facts, which show very fast that tools and molds industry is very important for Europe. Germany and Portugal in general are the most, involved in this field, and of course other countries like Spain, Eastern Europe, and Asia are getting involved more and more. Also, taking into consideration some data, we can see which is the main customer of tools and dies industry. Of course, it's automotive. 60% in Portugal, 70% in Canada and USA. And here is why we need to pay to invest on research and development. We can see here that we have a decrease from 0.6 to 0.10, around 4.5% in dies and molds produced in Europe, meaning that China market is penetrating this industry. Here is very important to take a look on some data related to what happened in Germany, let's say, when we have less time required for producing a mold. However, personnel costs for tool design and tool production are much higher than in China, much more higher, meaning that for some specific activities, the tool and molds industry will be transferred there. But this is the point here. On the one hand here, we have to say that 1% is today what is produced in Asia, but the perspective long term is to go to 22%, meaning that many people here in Europe will lose their jobs. So what we have to do? What we have to do is here. If we show what happens in low wage countries is that their high-end solutions are just in ordinary production or on an empirical production tools for the high wage countries, meaning that the tools produced here are not able to compete with the high-tech tools produced in Germany, in Switzerland, in other European countries. So our competitive advantage is not in low wage, but is here, is in the strategy, is in the technological weaknesses, meaning that if you go here, you will face a lot of competition, many competitors here on low wages. As you passing from low wage to technological weaknesses, the competition is less, and of course the chances are higher, and the margins are higher. So we need to compete here. So I think that I'm going to finish more or how this presentation with some important slides at the end, making the combination between the targets of the Horizon 2020 and our industry and your industry, which is tool and making, tool and molds making industry. So here we can see which are the strengths and weaknesses of the European today, meaning that we have some strengths which is the tradition, which is the skill production of high precision, but some weaknesses is high labor costs, particularly in Northern Europe, and the EU customers have moved to production in foreign locations, especially in China and Southeast Asia. So we need to go ahead with improving our excellence and, of course, investing on automation. So, some important facts. 54% of Chinese tool and dies manufacturers are still not accepted as qualified based on the Western European standards. Means that they have a long road to run until to be well established in this area. And 65% of EU end users judge the price-quality ratio of Chinese as bad, meaning that the value for money is not good. So the chances are here. So let's go ahead to see which are the research and innovation priorities. These are the research and innovation priorities, the 6 domains which has to do with the Horizon 2020. You can see that all of them are relevant to the tools and dies and molds making industry, adaptive and smart manufacturing, virtual and digital resource-efficient factories, collaboration and mobile enterprises. I can talk for each one of them very specifically, possibly in the break, how these 6 domains are very much related to your industry and how you can find interests in these domains. So here is the life, let's say, the life cycle and the technologies involved in tools and dies and molds production. And here you can see the, the domains which are included in the 2020 agenda. And you can see here how these information communication technologies, mechatronics, advanced manufacturing technologies, how they match with the different areas, with the different parts of the life cycle of your industry. This is the first part, and the second part, which has to do with the other 3 domains, manufacturing strategies, knowledge workers, and simulation and forecasting, and different tools which, and areas which can be used again to support specific actions in your life cycle in the production of merchandise. So, I try to give you an overview of what happened since 2004. I would I try to convince you, especially the SMEs, which somehow are afraid of these strange things happening in Brussels and happen in European projects and so on, to participate in the calls, because it's very important and there are possibilities there. And I try to show with some data that we need to fight to keep this industry, this very important industry in Europe. Otherwise, we will see very soon this 1% of today to be 22% moving in Asia and China and other countries there based on low-cost production. So these are some hints. Of course, behind that we can talk hours and hours. And I'm in your disposition, possibly later on or in the next few days, using emails, phones, and what you think appropriate to discuss in more details. Thank you very much.